WAFF 48's Nick Ballinger joins me now in studio. Nick, the judge broke down his decision in a 17-page ruling detailing why Marquette must stand trial.
Margot, an attorney I spoke to tells me this ruling breaks down two different questions of law and questions of fact. The judge states in this ruling that not only was Marquette acting outside the scope of his duty and the law, but there are facts in this case that can only be answered by a jury. There was only one way Nick Perkins, the brother of Steve Perkins, who was killed by a Decatur police officer in 2023, could describe the last 72 hours.
3 long days.
The long wait ended with a ruling from a Morgan County judge that Perkins' accused killer, Mac Marquette, did not act in self-defense and therefore can't be granted immunity. Defense attorney Hunter Garnett, not affiliated with this case, noted the extreme detail of the 17-page ruling.
In a case like this, basically the judge's ruling at the end of the day is there's some things that we need to figure out, and a jury needs to decide what is right and what is wrong.
Starting with the question of why Decatur police officers were called to Perkins' home in September of 2023 in the first place.
Part of his ruling is based on the fact that the police officer was acting outside of the line and scope of his employment, that he's doing some things that aren't part of your job as a Decatur police officer. And that's the very first thing I thought about the case was, why the heck are the police helping a tow truck driver repossess a car? That's not only not their job, but it's against the law.
Against the law and police policy, according to the judge. Quote, unless there is judicial process, a secured party may not utilize the assistance of a law enforcement officer in conducting a repossession. A law the judge says the tow truck driver didn't know, but the officers did. It even says this was, quote, common practice for Decatur police to assist in civil matters like Perkins. Marquette and the other officers testified they were investigating a menacing charge from when Perkins first pointed a gun at the tow truck driver. But the ruling says, quote, an investigation would have required them to make contact with Perkins, which body cam footage reveals the officers didn't do, instead opting to conceal themselves outside the home. Prosecutors argued that the officers had options to keep the peace by using their lights or even calling the utility company to track down Perkins' number to make contact. That leading the judge to say, quote, the defendant in regard to a menacing investigation was acting outside the scope of his authority and was therefore a trespasser.
We're very glad for the verdict that came down today, but we have to be reminded that the battle's not over. We still have to stay focused and vigilant because there's a trial coming.
Garnett says Marquette's attorneys can appeal this ruling, but for now, the ruling sets a trial date for June 9th at 9 a.m. Margot?
All right.